All right, Darcy. Well, thank you for joining us today on ParaGhoul Paranormal. First off, did you want to maybe introduce yourself first?
I'm Darcy Donovan. Apparently, I'm the official ghost tour guide of College Avenue campus.
I love that, yeah. Well, yeah, because you've been doing it for a couple of years now, which is awesome.
Well, the reason why I say official versus unofficial is because I used to give unofficial ghost tour guides for staff back in the day. Now, they were horribly, historically inaccurate, but that's what I used to do I did it for about 10 years in the pre-renovation. And after the building was renovated, I thought, done with ghost tours and stuff like that. But things changed last year when a grade 3 class came to the university and they wanted a historical tour of the building. And everybody knew I was the ghost tour guide. And they just said, give it to Darcy, he can do it. And I was forbidden to tell ghost stories to the children, so that was fine. But I did side work for Heritage Regina, and I still do. And I had met with them about a week after that. And they had just casually asked, what did you do this week? And I just said, I gave a historical tour of College Avenue campus for a grade 3 class. And they're like, you did what? I'm like, I did this. And they're like, you do realize we're Heritage Regina. And so they had asked how long I had done this. I said, about 10 years. I said, I know most of the ghost stories in the building. So they just said, they didn't give me a choice. I was voluntold. They said, you are doing a ghost tour for this. So we did a pilot project last year, and then we did all of October this year. So. Oh
yeah. Well, they were booked out all the time, it seemed.
Oh yeah. They're very, very popular. It's really funny because the pilot project we did last year, it sold out in 36 hours. So we added four total nights this year, and it sold out in 4 hours. So it's like they're hugely popular.
Yeah. Well, and I feel like every time I talk to someone about ghosts that are in Regina, they always wonder, why are there no ghost tours anymore? So obviously, people are looking for it. So.
I think there are ghost tours. The Government House gives one.
Yes. But once in a while.
Once in a while, yes. Once in a while.
Yeah. Yeah, so it seems that people want to have them back. But I guess the other exciting thing we should talk about is the fact that we're actually on site. So this is the first time being on site on ParaGhoul Paranormal, which is really exciting. So maybe you can tell our listeners where we are.
We are in the lecture theater. I chose, for those of you who can't see, we've got a breathtaking view of the lecture theater here. We're up in the balcony. And the building renovation, it had changed many things in the building. People will notice if you ever come into the lecture theater, there is a door halfway up the wall. And people always ask, what is that? Where does that lead to? Well, it goes to a little balcony called a Juliet balcony. Do you know why it's called a Juliet balcony?
I don't.
Shakespeare.
Oh.
Romeo and Juliet.
Yeah. Oh, that's
Romeo. Right there. That was Romeo. So it leads out to a little Juliet balcony. So,
okay.
But it used to be accessible back in the day when the lecture theater used to be in one orientation, but now it's not. Now the door is just a decoration halfway up the wall. So.
Oh. So, it'd be kind of hard to get there now.
It'd be very hard to get there now. But yeah, this is probably the most beautiful room in the building. I had tried to get to book you in the most haunted room in the building, which is the basement straight two floors down from here. But it's taken up by the conservatory all the time, so we have to bow to them first. So
definitely, yeah.
Otherwise, I would have put you in there. Your audio might not have worked in that room, but...
Hey, you never know. Yeah, I might have had audio interference or something. That really happened.
It has happened. I have had that happen. The very last tour that I ever gave, the last staff tour that I gave was in 2016. And so I told my coworker, I said, we're going to grab a camera, we're going to video it for posterity. And I didn't touch this video for 2 years. And at the very end, when we get to the most haunted part of the building, which is room 028, it's in the basement, which was the former cafeteria of the building. As soon as I say the tour is over, we have some Q&A afterwards. But when I went to the video, as soon as I say the tour is over, the video cuts out.
No way.
That's the only time our equipment ever failed in that fashion. The video works fine, but the audio just cut out. Cut out. And I asked my coworker about it. She said, I have no idea. We'd just never had a fail in that way before. Or since.
Oh, really? So it was just that one time?
It's just that one time.
Oh, it's very
and
interesting.
So it was like it was waiting for me to end the tour. As soon as the tour was over, the audio's over. So we're done.
They didn't want you to record the question and answer, I guess.
Yeah, I guess so. Well, that's probably the most boring part of it. They're like, okay, enough of you.
Yeah, no more. Done now. Oh, that's interesting. Well, I guess we should talk about the history behind the building. So why it is haunted, why we feel it's haunted.
Okay, the reason why people feel it's haunted is I talk about the room 028. It used to be the cafeteria. And in December of 1920 was when they had an outbreak of typhoid. And this was when they used to use raw milk back in those days.
Right.
And one of the farmhands who had brought in milk, he had what they call walking typhoid. He was a carrier, but he wasn't infected. So he somehow passed it into the milk. And raw milk, not bashing raw milk, you just got to be extra careful with it. It was passed into the milk, and everybody who had drank the milk got sick. So 79 people ended up being hospitalized in this building. They turned the ladies' dormitory,
Right.
into a makeshift hospital for about 6 weeks. And so 79 people ended up being hospitalized there. 8 students and 1 teacher, professor ended up dying in this building. And so that's where the origin of all the ghost stories come from.
Yeah. Oh, wow. Yeah, and that was 1920s, you said, right? So
Yeah, December of 1920.
Yeah.
The last one passed on New Year's Eve.
Oh, no way!
Yes.
Oh.
There's actually 2 sad ones. The teacher, the professor, dies on Christmas morning, and then the very last student to die dies on December 31st.
Oh.
So none of them, is... Yeah,
that's
it's
sad.
tragic. Digging
sad.
into all the stories is just very, very tragic. The age ranges was 13 to 28 years old.
Oh, wow.
The majority were, 13 to 18 in that range. So it's just sad all around.
Oh, that would be.
Yeah, and I actually went and visited all their graves over the summer. I went, and they're all buried within 2 hours of Regina.
Oh, okay.
So I left a cherub, an information card, and a rose for each of them.
Oh, nice.
And it was just, I just wanted to see, where they lived at that time. And it made it more real for me. Because it's like you read it in books. I mean, they're just words on paper. But when you go to the place where they are buried, it's far more real.
Oh, definitely.
So yeah, that's the only one is buried in Regina. The professor is buried here in Regina, and that's because he was from Southern Ontario, so they couldn't truck him back to.
Yeah, that'd be a long trek in the 1920s.
Yeah, and the interesting thing was he wasn't buried for another 6 months. He died on December 25th, and then he wasn't buried until June.
Oh, wow.
As far as the records show, anyway.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Oh. But, and so I guess who do you think actually haunts? Do you think all 8 and the professor all are here? Or is it more one kind of person you think might be the ghost here? Or?
Oh, there's me. I've not had any encounters myself. I'm just going by what people say.
Yeah.
And it's not just the people who had passed away in the building. There are other stories of World War II soldiers that wander the halls of this building.
I guess,
And that's because the building was a Royal Canadian Air Force training school from 1940 until 1944.
Right.
So about 25,000 young men came through here. 3 of them died while here.
While here.
They didn't die in the building, but they died while here. I actually go through that on the ghost tour. I tell you what happened to each and every one of them. And one of them was the big reveal this year. I can actually probably tell you about it now, but one of them was a big reveal because there was a legend a long time of a soldier who fell from the tower of the building.
I heard that one.
Heard that
one?
Okay, so I got to the bottom of this one.
Oh, did you?
I got to the bottom of it. I got his photo, I got his military record, I've got everything. And the many things that I learned about this story, the reason why I didn't believe many of the stories because the story kept changing. People had said that it was a party. He went up, he was drunk, fell off the roof, and another person had said, he'd gone to the roof and he was trying to balance himself on the crenellations on the roof. Those are the square indentations.
Yeah, okay.
Tried to balance himself, fell to his death. And then 2003 TV series called Creepy Canada. Have you heard of this?
I think that's where I heard about the original time I heard it.
Creepy Canada perpetuated the myth that he had thrown himself off the building, that he was a shell-shocked soldier who had taken his own life.
Yeah.
None of those are true.
Okay.
So what had actually happened was, this is just, I call it the broken telephone story. Basically,
yeah, I imagine it would be.
yeah, it's a broken telephone. Because it's like, what actually happened is about 5 blocks north of here. Because people think that the barracks was this building. It was not. The barracks was actually next door. Okay. The soundstage was the barracks. The College Avenue campus here was the training school. So for all of that to happen was entirely impossible because all the equipment is here. You can't have a drunken party with military equipment here.
Well, yeah.
You can have it at the barracks. So the only other thing I was thinking was maybe he fell from the roof of the barracks. Well, he did not fall from the roof of the barracks. He actually fell down a stairway 5 blocks north of here at a dance hall called the Arcadia Ballroom.
Oh, so it wasn't even actually
here.
Oh, okay.
Now, the reason why, and it's just, the whole thing is a sad story. I could go into it, but it's a story I could talk about for an entire hour because it's once they find his body, the mystery begins. This is a story unto itself, and it's one I've told Heritage Regina. I said, I could talk about this story individually because it's compelling on its own. But he was a 40-year-old military person. He had a wife and 2 children, and they were moving here the next day to be with him. He was when they had found his body. They found him on a Sunday. He had went there on a Saturday and fell down the back staircase, and nobody found him until the next morning, or until actually noon the next day. And apparently his wife and 2 kids were coming to Regina to join him. He was from Carnduff, and they were coming here to join him to start a whole new life and everything like that. The whole thing is just tragic. It's a tragic story.
Very much so.
But the reason why I think that people think that it happened here is one, because of the TV series. I'm sorry, Creepy Canada, they did not pay attention to detail. They just wanted to pump out content, so they did.
Yeah.
But the reason why I think that people associate his death with this building is because the Arcadia Ballroom closed in 1945, around the same time that the RCAF training school was sunsetted here.
Right.
So people back then would have still talked about his death, because it was a small community. Regina would have been about 50,000 people back then, so everybody would have known of the incident.
Oh, definitely, yeah.
But over time it would have morphed to from a soldier who fell at a dance club to a soldier who was at the training school. And then it becomes the soldier at the training school falls to his death, and now you have the story of the soldier who falls to his death at College Avenue campus, which never happened.
Oh, interesting.
But people have said that they've seen World War II era soldiers in this building, and some have said that he walks out in front. So nobody knows who that is, though. Yeah.
Interesting, though.
Yeah, it's
tragic and
it's
sad.
It's interesting and tragic. Yeah. It's a story. It's not to give the whole thing away because we'll be here for an hour if I tell you the entire story. Because there's a bunch of things in it. It goes deep. Like I ended up going to the coroner's office to try to dig up the records. The coroner's office didn't exist back then, so I still haven't gotten to the bottom of this because there was a public inquiry into his death, so the transcript exists, and possible audio of this inquiry exists. So
so there might be more information.
There might be more.
Interesting. So, the mystery deepens.
Yeah. Well, because there's this, like when you first read into the transcript of the inquiry, you actually think that he might have been manslaughtered or murdered by accident, right? Well, I guess murder is not accident, but. It's
something suspicious happens.
It's possible. I actually rule it out. In the ghost tour. Not to give all that away, but I go through all the reasons why. There's a bunch of reasons why it did not happen here in this building. So.
Yeah. Oh wow. So, do you have any idea who might actually be here then?
Do I have any idea?
Or does anyone, guess?
I make some hypothesis. There's another story. People have told me things here about a little girl. There's a legend of a little girl.
Okay.
And she apparently haunts the old cafeteria, the old pottery room downstairs. And, she playfully scares people. That type of thing. She'll sneak up behind you. And the story behind that one, and this one I have never been able to confirm whatsoever, is... and I include it on the tour, but I'm just take this with a grain of salt, is that it was a professor's daughter decades and decades ago. She had tripped and fallen down the stairs of the tower and had broken her neck. And people had said that, from the anecdotes that I got, was that people had said she was a happy little girl and always playful and that kind of thing, always excitable, and then one day was just taken out of the building in a stretcher and they never saw her again. So of course, the legend is, so of course it brings forth the legend. She fell in the stairs, broke her neck, she died. That type of thing.
The stairs back then are like dangerous by the sounds of it.
It's really funny. When I give this tour, writing all this tour, doing all the research, it has made me very careful on stairs. I hold railings now, right? I feel like an old person. It's like I'm holding railings, and like I don't want to trip and fall. It's one of those.
So how did you get into, I guess, collecting these stories? Like, is it just from working in the building, or what kind of started it?
I started work here in 2011, and I was always fascinated with the building. The old building is far more interesting than the new building. Okay, the new building is great, it's shiny and new, it's beautiful, blah, 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 all that. The old building had all these nooks and crannies, and yet there was a stairwell into the floor. There was 2 stairwells into a wall. There was a raised floor in the basement of the old conservatory, and that's from flooding that happened in the 70s. So there was all these little Band-Aid solutions in the building. So because of that, you had all these nooks and crannies, all these makeshift things. The building was far more interesting. And I just slowly had collected a story here, a story there. And then eventually, just for the heck of it, I gave new staff a quick little ghost tour of the building. Well, then, of course, then it becomes more, you become that guy, you become that person who does it. And so anytime we got a new staff or anything like that, I was almost obligated to give the new staff ghost tour. And of course I started having groupies who wanted to come for every ghost tour. It was like but the building has, the one thing that I learned while doing all of this is the rich history of this building. When I start the tour, I tell everybody, you are in the most notorious building in all of Regina. And it might not be true, because I'm sure the legislature and the general hospital is far more notorious, but I'm going to claim that title until they say different.
Until someone challenges you, right?
I've put out a couple of challenges. So yes. But this building has a rich history. Like of the tours that I gave, probably the biggest compliment that I get is people say, I'm going to be thinking about this tour for days afterwards, because there's so much packed into the tour. It's not just, it's not just, I go through the entire history, and what I've done is I've pulled out these little limes here and there. Not little limes, sorry, I didn't mean to say that. It's these limes out of these stories. Like, for instance, I have a love story in the tour as well, and that's just from somebody's anecdote. A woman in her 80s, in 1980, had recalled that anytime she came back to this building, from in her 80s, she would remember the last time she saw her boyfriend on the front steps of the building. He had gone off to war in World War I and never came back. I know it's a tragic story, but it's one of those. I'm just like, it's stories like that just enrich the history of this building. That there was. Is that I talk a lot about the World War I memorial that's at the old main entrance of the building, and there's so many rich stories to pull out of there. It is in of itself a rich history of the building.
Oh, for sure, yeah. Well, and it's interesting because a lot of the older buildings, of course, especially in Regina, have so much of that wartime history associated with, like, Government House has the war history, this building has war history, so it just adds that extra, I guess, complexity to the history of the building, for sure.
Absolutely, it does. Because it wasn't a school during that time.
Yeah.
It was a military training school during that time. That's it makes it, because I talk when I first talk about this building, when I do the intro of the ghost tour, I talk about all the iterations of this building, how it started out as a school and how it was, then it became a hospital and a military training school. It was a wedding chapel. It was also a funeral parlor. We are actually in the room where a funeral took place. Really? Yeah. The teacher I was telling you about, Roy Percival Renwick is his name. He's buried at the Regina Cemetery. His funeral was held in this building. And it's because he's from Southern Ontario, and he was a beloved teacher from all accounts. But yeah, his funeral happened in this building, like in this room right here. Wow. In this room. So yeah, this building has seen so many different iterations. Even if briefly, there's just all this richness to it.
Oh wow! I guess I should ask, at least once, is what is your favorite ghost story that you've collected?
Oh, favorite one. Oh, that's a tough one. I'm glad this is recorded. To pick one. I'm sorry, am I too close to the mic or too far away?
No, you're good.
Okay.
You're good.
Oh, that's a tough one. Probably, if I have to pick one, it's hard to pick one. You're asking me to pick the favorite of my children, right?
Oh yeah, that's true.
Probably my most favorite one. It's probably the love story would be a close second, but the number one is right at the end of the tour when I talk about the death of Roy Percival Renwick, because his story, his death is actually quite compelling. Because yes, he drinks the milk and he gets sick and goes into the ladies' dorm, and typhoid is a disgusting, terrible disease. The first week you have probably what it feels like a normal cold. Mm-hmm. The second week things get worse, and that determines whether you live or die. And it would be about the second week that they determined that he was probably not going to make it. Oh, so they contacted his father in, I think he lived around Peterborough in that area in Southern Ontario. And so by the time they contact him, the clock is ticking. Right. And in 1920, you can't just hop on a plane and be here in a few hours. Probably took a couple of days even to get the message to the father. Yeah. And he has to hop on a train and come across. So basically you're talking, the reason why the story is so compelling is because you've got this father trying to beat the clock before his son dies. And he makes it with 36 hours to spare. He arrives on December 23rd in the afternoon, and he's able to be at his son's bedside until Christmas morning when his son draws his final breath. And I think that part is just the most compelling part of it. And it just how nobody else in the family could make it or, could afford to come over. And only one member of his family, because it's like, for the most part of the story, it looks like he's going to die alone, with no family at his bedside type of thing. But his father does arrive at the very, very end, just before he draws his final breath. And because of that, because there's one shadow in the lower level hallway that people claim that there's a shadow that goes around the hallway. It's not a soldier, and that's the only one that I go, is it possibly Roy Renwick? Is it possibly? Because the shadow, when people approach the shadow, it's a shy shadow, and it's a humble shadow, and this would be the characteristics of Roy Renwick, and so. Without any evidence, I just say, could it possibly be him, right? Yeah. It's just one of those to make a connection to that shadow that's possibly there. Could be somebody else. So it's one of those.
Oh, interesting though. And they see him, but downstairs.
Yeah, he's just in the basement, where an old mural used to be. The mural no longer exists, and there's a mural that I painstakingly recreated. I took photos of it, and sadly it's been destroyed. But I've preserved it digitally. So I let people have a look at it, and it's one of those you have to see it. But it's a mural that depicts. Three possible things. I narrow it down to, through the process of elimination, I narrow it down to that it's actually a memorial to the typhoid victims. Because it shows a group of 9 going into darkness. Oh, yeah, that. And they're just stick figures. And, they're just stick figures. And that mural had been there for... People don't know who the artist is. They don't know how long it's been there. Some people have said that it's been there since the 30s or the 20s. But it had been there that entire time and was sadly destroyed in 2016 when this building was renovated.
Oh, yeah. Unfortunately, things happen like that. Especially stick figures. I mean, you can't really say for sure what it is.
You can't. And actually, one of the things that I say about it, the reason why I believe it's the Typhoid Victim Memorial is because it shows incomplete figures, it shows incomplete lives. We're talking about young people, 13 to 28, who had died. I go through an entire thing on this. It goes on for about five minutes or more because I break down the entire mural, because it's like, you have to realize this started out as a Methodist college, So you have to look at the
okay.
mural through
Yeah.
a Methodist's eyes.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense.
And once you do that, the mural makes complete sense because nobody knew what it was before. And I was like, perhaps I'm looking at this through the wrong eyes. And I
Yeah.
was like, you know what? This started out as a Methodist college. Lots of devout Methodists here, from all the way to 1930. Well, I guess they formed the United Church, 1927, somewhere in there. But for the first 15, 16 years, this was pretty much a Methodist college.
Oh, I didn't realize that. Okay. Well, then that would make sense. Yeah, you'd have to look at it through their eyes as opposed to someone modern like us.
Yeah, I was looking at it through the wrong eyes.
Yeah.
It's one of those, and I had to do that with a lot of the research that I did as well. I was using modern terms to do searches. You probably know this with your book and everything like that.
Yeah.
And how people didn't die of a sickness, they died of a malady. Right?
Yeah, right, yeah.
Who uses the word malady?
Well, yeah, exactly. That's not something you'd say nowadays. Oh, I even find, looking at old, newspaper articles, and I kind of have to go, okay, I got to think, what would they say back then as opposed to now?
Oh yeah,
It'd be different.
That was one of the biggest challenges I had in all of this, and in finding all of this, because a lot of times sometimes the language is very, very blunt.
Oh, very.
But other times it's this flowery language, like malady, right?
Yeah.
And once I discovered that, I was like, okay, I'll start looking for the word malady, right? And I started finding a little more morsels. But research is very, very difficult because it started to make me wonder how far back in time I could go and still understand the English language, right?
Yeah, I imagine, eh? Well, I know even reading some of the old, classics that are really old, I have a hard time reading them. Sometimes
Yes.
I have to look up, what does that word mean?
and that's kind of, so it's one of the things I had to learn while doing this tour and everything like that, was that I had to speak in their language.
Oh,
not
definitely,
mine.
yeah. Oh, that's interesting, though. How are we doing for time?
We're at 27 minutes.
Okay. So I guess, so before we have to wrap up, because, these times always go by so fast, is there anything else you want to kind of add to for our listeners, or?
There's I never sent you the trailer.
There's a trailer?
I made a trailer for this whole
Oh.
thing. I should have sent it to you because you would have been able to ask other questions as well, because the trailer ends with the Regina cyclone bearing down on the building.
Oh.
This building was almost destroyed in 1912.
Yeah.
And it's actually one of the things that I talk about. I take people to a room in this building where they can see the dome of the legislature and where they're standing. And then I show them the path of the cyclone.
I know, it came close.
Yeah. It missed this building by about 40 meters or 120 feet.
Really close then.
Very close. The buildings that, only the main part of the building, it didn't have the tower back then either.
Okay.
It was just this box that was sitting here.
Yeah.
All the other buildings, like the Connexus building and Dark Hall and the ladies' dorm, everything on that end would have all been destroyed by the cyclone.
Yeah.
So I take people to a room where you're standing in certain depth, because I show them the path, and I'm just like, can you figure out the trajectory of everything? And like, you're standing in certain depth because you would have been killed
Because
by
you would
the
have been
Regina.
right there. Wow.
That's how close it came to destroying this building. And I talk about, all the near-death experiences this building had. It had several near-death experiences.
Oh, interesting.
Many of them financial, but
Well, yeah, like most things.
like most things. Yeah, but the very first one was that the Regina cyclone almost destroyed this building. And you can actually go to a room here and you can actually stand in the path of it. If you go to Dark Hall, you're standing directly in the path of it. You're in certain death there.
Yeah.
So, it's one of the many things that have happened in this building. And that's there's so much more to talk about. I've actually only scratched the surface with you.
Have to do like a 3-part series.
Yeah. I want to do a 3-part series.
Oh, okay. No, that's really interesting. Yeah, I talked about the Regina cyclone a little bit because I know it was a really distinct path it took, and everything was destroyed in the path.
The only time it swerves is between the legislature and this building. It's the only time it swerves.
Yeah, otherwise, it's basically.
I have theories on that. I think it's because it hit the water, possibly, and it changed the friction, and that's what made it swerve. I also think that because the legislature was almost fully built, both the legislature and the College Avenue campus were just about complete then. They were both relatively incomplete. And I was thinking that maybe the legislature created a small vacuum and also sucked it, to the west, and allowed it to miss the building as well. Otherwise, it was in a direct hit of the building. And so I was thinking either Wascana Lake saved it or the legislature accidentally saved it by creating a vacuum. I'd have to talk to meteorologists about that one. These are just theories. These are just theories, of course. But but that's the only time it swerves. And I'm just like, why is that the only time it swerves? I know tornadoes are random and all that kind of thing, but that's the only time it swerves. And I was thinking there's got to be an explanation for that.
Interesting. Oh, thanks for coming on.
All right.
We might have to do it again, I guess.
I'm honored you asked to have an interview with me. This has been a lot of fun.
And it's really fun actually being here, which is really cool. So thanks for having us.
Maybe next time we can go into the most haunted room and your audio won't work at all.
Yeah. We'll have issues, but that's okay. Awesome, thank you.